Hey, everybody, welcome back to Muscles by Brussels Radio. I am Sawyer,
And I'm Danny.
and today we are going to be getting into a topic that is not so sciencey and technical, but it's still really important because it applies to everybody. Because I think at some level, we all have days, if not weeks and months, where we don't really feel like exercising. But first, I want to catch up with Danny because it's been a minute since we've gotten to just chat, you and me.
Okay.
So, what's been going on in your world, Danny? I know you've been cutting for a week.
Eight terrible days. No, just kidding.
It's well, transitions are hard, but how's it felt so far? I know you said you were a little bit hungry,
Yeah,
but
I was
other
really
than that,
well,
how's it been going?
especially the first few days. I was really, really hungry, and like my instinct was
Mhm.
like, I'm just gonna go get a little snack, and then I was like, no, damn it, you're not gonna get a snack because that's not part of the plan right now. And yeah, I just remember hearing you towards the end of your cut being like, yeah, I'm feeling it. So it was funny that you
Mhm.
were like leaving yours as I was going into mine.
Yep. Yeah, it's a different thing. Like you can kind of get into a rhythm after a while, and I'm sure you're probably starting to get to that
Yeah,
point where you're like, all right, I know the rules and the ways that I get around feeling miserable all the
yeah,
time. But at the same time, there will come a point where like your body's just kind of not happy with you for doing
yeah.
it for too long.
I'm hoping I'm
So,
out of it before that happens because it's only gonna be 8
mhm,
weeks. Like, there is
mhm.
nothing that's gonna make me prolong this beyond 8 weeks. So, even if for some reason I don't get to where I initially set out to go, like, I have no intention of going further than that.
Mhm, mhm.
But so far, so good. Like, I'm already a quarter of the way there. So, I mean, I know the
Oh,
first
that's
few pounds come off pretty quickly in a diet, but, if we can keep a good pace, maybe I don't even have to do it for 8 weeks. That'll be pretty sweet.
That would be cool. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
the dream, right? I
Yeah.
think with mine it was interesting because I kind of ended it because my body was telling me to,
Mhm.
and not because I wanted to. Because I was like, oh, Ben was saying, yeah, you're not quite at 12%, which is where I set my sights. And so I was like, but it was getting to the point where adherence was kind of becoming an issue. And so I had to just like own it and be like,
Mhm.
all right, this is what it is.
Yeah, how are you feeling now being
Looks
out
like
of it
my
for, like, a week?
internet. Now I feel like, not that I was dying before, but I feel like I definitely have more energy and I'm feeling better. And now I was sick this last few days, so that's a little bit clouding the waters, but I can tell I'm feeling better. My training sessions are getting better, even the few that I've done since, being sick. So it's feeling good and I'm excited about it. And honestly, I think that now that I'm, seeing past the diet fatigue, I am thinking more clearly about what I want and also what this next few months is going to be like with traveling and everything. We're starting traveling next week pretty much. So
Oh,
now I'm
wow, I
just
didn't
like,
realize it was that soon.
yeah, well, we're heading to the East Coast first and then we fly out from the East Coast. So that's why it's a
Mhm.
little bit sooner than the February when we fly across the Atlantic. But the idea of doing a cut and getting back into that just to get to an arbitrary number, as stubborn as I am, I was like, you know what? It's not really worth it. I do feel like I've accomplished some things with this cut, and I don't need to be so much of a stickler. But I do plan on doing another cut later.
What do you think was the biggest thing that you accomplished, beyond just, like, body fat loss? What did you take away from the cut?
Yeah, good question. I think what I realized that some fears were holding me up. That was the thing. It was like I was every time I was, seeing any dips in performance, before when I was doing the same exercises, and probably just leverage changes to be honest, and reductions in any size, which probably just glycogen and some fat loss. I would pull back, or even just hunger, just having hunger. I didn't want to push into that too much. And so having Ben just kind of like hold me to what I said I wanted to do and also give me more rest in between sessions, honestly, less
Mhm.
frequency
Like
of training.
like permission.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those things, I think the combination of those things was exactly what I needed, because it pushed me into some discomfort that I was forced to deal with, like kind of what you're feeling right now of like, okay, this kind of sucks. I'm not
Mhm.
having a great time, but on the other side of it, you're
Mhm.
proud of yourself. And then also just training less was really good because I have anxiety about not training as much and losing muscle. That's really all what it came down to was I was afraid of losing muscle. And,
Right.
you know, even if I did a little bit, it wasn't enough to like affect how I look overall. And I know that I'm going to gain any that I lost back in the coming months. So I need to just
Mhm.
get better about not catastrophizing when I'm cutting. And that's, I think, what this cut helped me do.
Well, good. I mean, it sounds like it was pretty successful. It is hard. Like, it just is hard. I
Hmm.
feel like some people are just like more sensitive to certain parts of it as well. Like, I know I'm
Hmm.
very sensitive to hunger. Don't like it
Hmm.
at all.
Hmm. Yeah.
I would
Same.
say I don't know anybody who likes hunger, but that's actually a lie. I do know people who like hunger and I don't know what's wrong with them, but yeah. So, but I mean, so far I can't complain. It's going fine. I think it's more the fact that like I think you said something like, "Oh, when you start to see the results, you'll be more motivated."
Hmm.
And I don't know if that's actually true because
Really?
I'm like doing it as a means to an end. I'm not doing this because like it's my heart's desire or anything. I'm perfectly fine with where I'm at right now, but it's
Hmm.
literally like for a job basically. So, just a countdown, more or less a countdown.
Yeah.
So, but
That's a bummer.
it'll be interesting to at least see sort of like, okay, why did the scale go up? I think I'll have a better understanding of why that happened at the end of this. And I'm very curious about
Hmm.
that. Like, I feel like I've
Hmm.
definitely gotten stronger. So maybe I'll see
Hmm.
if I did actually build muscle or is it literally just because my steps went down? I don't know.
Mm.
We'll see.
Yeah. I'm
So
very
I'm
curious
excited
about
about
that
that
too.
part of it.
Yeah. I'm
Mhm.
curious about that too because you said
Yeah.
like you felt like you're doing pretty much everything the same except for CrossFit now, and
Hmm.
which, was a lot more energy burned probably than your usual workouts. So I'm
I
not sure.
think so. It's again, it's a little hard to tell because like bodybuilding style workouts are a lot longer, but they're way less intense.
Hmm.
Whereas the CrossFit, it's like in bursts of like, 15 minutes of hell,
Hmm.
but the rest of it is like not that hard. You know what I mean? So I don't
Hmm.
know. We'll see. We'll see. So
Yeah.
should we be offended that Ben specifically wanted you and I on this particular topic? He was
That's a great
immediately like,
question.
I want Danny and Sawyer on this.
Yeah. Weird. Actually, didn't think about that until
Uh,
just now.
yeah. Hmm.
I think, yeah, we're just finicky bitches, I guess. And he was just like, yeah, let's
Yeah,
put these
I
guys
guess.
on because yeah. But I mean, I don't know. I think it's cool that you have experimented recently, especially with different training modalities. And I think
Mhm.
that was due to you kind of feeling like kind of burnt out with bodybuilding style training, right? You were just kind of like, this isn't really doing anything for me now. Is that true?
Yeah, yeah, it just wasn't very exciting for me at all
Hmm.
anymore, which I think is actually a pretty good lead in to the topic, the actual topic, which is
Hmm.
like, there are a lot of people that come to us and they're just like, I I don't like exercise. I just exercise because it's a means to an end. Like
Hmm.
it's what I've been told I have to do to be healthy, so I just do it, but I
Hmm.
hate every second of it. And
Yeah.
I don't really think it has to be that way for the most part.
Hmm.
So, what's your take on it like from a bird's eye view?
I think that I think if it's dangerous to paint things with a broad brushstroke like that, like saying I hate all exercise, because that's not true. There's probably some activities that are physical that you actually do
Mhm.
enjoy. And so even though you might not be able to access those activities all the time, like say you're a big snowboarder or something, right? Like, okay, granted that's very seasonal and very,
Yeah.
situational. But you could still have some
Mhm.
things that kind of make you feel similar to that. Like, for instance, if there's a sense of like adrenaline when you're snowboarding, okay, that might be a thread to pull on and see, okay, maybe I like classes that are a little bit more fast paced or something, right? Or maybe I like
Mhm.
doing, circuits or something like that. Because I think if you think, oh, there's just one way to exercise and I hate that way, then you're going to just very
Mhm.
have a very hard time, very love-hate relationship with exercise because you're going to be really proud of yourself when you do it, but you probably won't be able to do it very often, very consistently if you just do it that one way and you hate it?
So there's a lot of people that come to us and they're like kind of shocked that we're not telling them like they have to run for cardio. Have you
Mhm.
ever gotten that?
Mhm.
When people are like, "Oh, thank God, because I hate running." And it's like, "Well, you don't have to do that. Why would you have to do that?"
Yeah, I do get that. And they'll be like, I hate burpees. And I was like, I wasn't gonna program you
Mhm.
burpees. That's a weird thing to say, but I feel like they've worked with people that have done
Mhm.
that. to them before, like kind of surprised them with stuff they don't like.
Yeah, and it's tricky to just be like, well, just find exercise you like and only do that exercise because I definitely think there's like an element to just being an adult that sometimes we have to do things we don't like to do just because they are good
Hmm.
for us and we should do them, you know?
True.
But I don't think that needs to be like a lot of people just expect to hate exercise. And
Hmm.
I think it's
Hmm.
because of that expectation, or at least in part because of that expectation, that they do end up hating exercise. Like, the same way sometimes people will start a diet and they don't hate it because they're like, this is not as hard as I expected it to be. So this must not be working. So let me just make it harder until I hate it because that's the only way it could possibly be working. And I think people do that
Yeah.
with exercise too.
Yes, exactly what I was about to say. I think that people seek out activities they hate because it hurts more and because it's harder. And so when things feel harder, they feel like they're doing better because that's their relationship to fitness is that they do things they hate and they get good results. But I think to actually be a lifelong fitness enthusiast, you could call yourself or whatever fit person, I think you really do have to at some point cross the bridge into doing stuff that feels better to do than to not do. Because otherwise,
Hmm.
I don't see how you could do it indefinitely, which is really what you have to aim for if you want to keep anything that you achieve. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, as humans, we like want to do things that we're good at. That's just what
Hmm.
most humans do. If you try to do something and you're not like naturally good at it, a lot of people are just
Hmm.
going to be like, well, I don't want to do that anyway. And I feel like that can kind of, from a like well-rounded athlete, fitness, or even bodybuilder perspective, that can get you into a little bit of trouble where you end up like pretty unbalanced because let's say you
Hmm.
hate training legs and you suck at squats or something, so you just don't do it and then you end up with a really underdeveloped lower body.
Hmm.
Like in that regard, yeah, sometimes you got to do stuff that you don't love to do, but the majority of your exercise should be stuff that you at least feel neutral about, you know, like hopefully enjoy, but at least feel like kind of neutral about, not dread.
Yeah, I completely agree. And actually, that's a good example because that's describes me. I don't really like leg training for the most part, but it was made a whole lot worse when I thought I have to barbell squat. Oh, I have to do these
Mhm.
certain lifts that I hate. But when I started experimenting with different modalities and different exercises, it became a lot more tolerable. Like the leg press is my best friend. Like me and that thing, we go
Mhm.
way back. And it actually helped me develop my legs a lot more because even if you could debate all day whether the barbell squat is better or the hack squat or the Smith machine or whatever. It doesn't really matter. The thing that's going to build your physique the most and get you to where you want to go the most is the thing that you can do most consistently and most intensely. And if you just have a chip on your shoulder about a certain exercise, it's going to be really hard to push past that and continuously do that, day in and day out to try to build the kind of physique that you want
Yeah,
and keep it
for
going,
sure. That's
you know.
one of my favorite things about bodybuilding is that there is no exercise you have to do. Like literally
Mhm.
not one. So, you know, if someone's
Mhm.
goal is powerlifting, yeah, you're kind of shit out of luck because there's 3 exercises you have to do. That is the sport. You know, in CrossFit, I'm
Yeah.
learning like, yep, nope, even the stuff that sucks, you have to at least be able to do it badly because it could pop
Mhm.
up in some workout or competition or whatever, even if you can scale it.
Mhm.
But in bodybuilding, if you're just trying to change the way your body looks, there is no one exercise you have to do. Like, yes, you should hit all of your
Mhm.
body parts, and there's certain principles you should take into account when creating a routine, but you can pick exercises that feel good for you and that you're excited to do. And yeah, you have to be confident that you can do them consistently, also.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, so I mean, maybe we can give people some practical takeaways here, which are maybe based on some things we've seen with clients and what they tend to hate and what can work better for them. I think we've already touched on one, which is like leg training. And besides the exercise selection that you choose, you can also program it differently. Like for me, I used to skip the entirety of leg day because I was like, I
Yep.
don't want to do that. That sounds terrible. Now I most often am throwing leg exercises into another type of workout. So I'll spread out my leg exercises so that it's not just like a day of brutal compound leg exercises. They're sprinkled in throughout the week and it doesn't feel so like I am going to hate my life for the next 45 minutes kind of thing. It's like okay, one exercise I'm not a fan of, but I'm going to push myself and then I'll move on to something else, you know? Do you have
That's
any tips for people who hate leg day?
I also hate leg day so
Mhm.
much. So I know most women it's the other way around, but I'd rather train my neck than my legs. So um yeah,
Oh my god.
I do the same thing. So I prefer more like full body style training, not because like it's necessarily superior because you could make an argument either way, as long as you're getting
Mhm.
the right amount of volume and intensity and what have you. But for that reason,
Mhm.
it's a psychological trick that I would play on myself and be like, okay, there's only 2 exercises that are going to be torture in this workout, and that's fine. I can do that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, I might delay a full leg day and then like, "Oops, I missed that. I guess I'm behind. I'll just do the next thing." Like, and that's not how I was gonna
Yep.
get the physique that I wanted to get. So
Mhm.
and then, of course, yeah, the exercise selection, trying to make it things that I did not despise, which is hard to do on leg day for me. So, because
Mhm.
even the ones that
Yeah.
I like,
No,
it's
it's
like the
true.
setup on this is terrible, and I don't even wanna do the setup, you know? Like
Yeah.
hip
Yep.
thrusts, for example. I
Yep.
don't dislike hip thrusts, but I hate setting them up. So,
Mhm.
anyway. But yeah,
Yeah. I feel
leg day
you.
is a tough one. I think the biggest thing that clients tell me that they hate is cardio. They're like, "I hate
Mhm.
cardio. I don't wanna do cardio." And I feel like that's one of those things that you have to be like, "Well, you're a grown up and you have a heart and it's not getting any younger, so we have to find a way to get you moving to keep that healthy, even if it's not like just to burn fat or burn calories or whatever."
Right.
So that I feel like there's a ton of wiggle room there. And everybody just thinks, "I don't
Mhm.
wanna run." And it's like, "Well, you didn't no one said
Mhm.
running." Like, I would argue against running. I'll make an argument against running any day. I think it's not a great exercise for a lot of people. I think the risk on it is way too high, personally, compared to other things. But,
Yeah, if you're not conditioned
I
for it,
mean
if your tissues aren't prepared for running, it can be really, really hard on like, I don't know, the Achilles and like the calves
mhm.
and the shins and things that people aren't really doing regularly, or it can be that are high impact like that can be, yeah, I think higher risk than they need to be.
Yeah. But I think that walking is outstanding. I mean, isn't that like the vast majority of the cardio that you did on your cut was just like steps?
Yeah, I did steps and then I did 2 sessions of 20 minutes of uphill walking. And
Oh,
the
okay.
uphill walking is, yeah, it's, I mean, it's still walking. It's not as high impact
Mhm,
as doing running, but it definitely got my heart rate up. And actually, this is
mhm,
something I'm happy to report. I was doing a hike right before I got sick, and I was able to outperform, I think, what I would be able to would have been able to do a few months ago in terms of cardio. We were walking up a mountain, and it was just like not that hard, and that was
mhm,
a really cool moment for me where I was like, "Oh, this has actually paid off." But yeah, historically, cardio has been torture for me, and I think it's because I thought I needed to run
mhm,
or I needed to even jog. And doing the
mhm.
incline walking, as much
Right.
as I hated doing even that, it was more tolerable, and
Right.
I could distract myself with,
Mhm.
YouTube videos or, calls with friends or whatever. And at the end of it, I
Yeah,
did
because you can
feel
still talk
pretty
while you're
accomplished.
doing it. You can still use your hands while you're uphill walking as opposed to, like, having to pump your arms while you're jogging. Incline
Yep.
walking is my
Mhm.
favorite form of, like, formal cardio, without a question.
Mhm.
Every prep that I've ever done, that is it. That's what I'm doing for formal cardio. If I get to a place where I have to incorporate formal cardio, that's what I do. It's so much easier
Mhm.
on your joints. It's so much easier to recover from. But if you have that incline high enough, you don't even have to be going very fast. If you're not touching the treadmill or whatever, like your heart is
Mhm.
it's beating just as hard as if you were jogging most of the time. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's usually what I recommend to people, and they're usually kind of floored at how high their heart rate does get even though they're not running. But
Mhm.
sometimes it is the high heart rate that people do not like. Like, that's the part that makes them hate it so much.
One thing I noticed was that when I was hiking, I got my heart rate up higher than I was able to without being annoyed by it. I'm more like tired or frustrated by it, how much it didn't feel great in the gym because I was outside and I was doing something more stimulating than just being on a treadmill. So for me, the hike was more enjoyable. even though it's more like, you have to go out of your way to go do it, it felt like, wow, I got a better cardio workout and it felt less tedious to do than a treadmill workout. So that was kind of cool. Something I noticed too.
Yeah, and I think that largely depends on, like, where you live. I have clients that live
Hmm.
in Colorado, right near Boulder, and that is, like, their regular cardio. Like, at least once a
Hmm.
week, they go out and hike as their cardio, and often like, they'll hit a different place every week of the year, which is insane to me.
Hmm.
Because if I wanted to hike one, I'd have to drive an hour, and I can think of, like, 4 spots. So I
Hmm.
love hiking, but it's not, like, super accessible to me, but I do
Hmm.
think that, if steps are something you're doing or walking is something you're doing, it's so much more pleasant to do outside, even if it's just walking on the sidewalk because it's just, like, more engaging, there's stuff to see, and sounds to hear, and, like, it's just much more pleasant. It's probably better for your mental health than being on a treadmill any day of the week, so, yeah, I'm a big fan of getting outside for cardio in any way that you can do it.
Hmm.
The other thing I was gonna say is interval training. So, a lot of people think interval training is like they're misinformed and think that it's better for fat burning or calorie burning to do intervals, or
Hmm.
there's this like post exercise oxygen consumption, which there is, but it's very minimal. It's not that big of a deal. But if you need cardio, like for your health, if you recognize, like, okay, my heartbeat never gets above 120, like ever, I should probably do that. But the thought of running or even incline walking for 20 minutes sounds like hell because it's uncomfortable when your heart is beating a lot faster than it normally is. It's not comfortable. But if you do it
Hmm.
in little intervals, just little bursts of even like a minute here, 2 minutes there, like even that can add up. And
Hmm.
yeah, that could be like formal on a piece of cardio equipment. But I mean, you could do that at your house. You could do that outside. You could run to your mailbox and back or something. It's like 30 seconds. And those little short bouts, even though it
Hmm.
seems like nothing, if you do them several times throughout the day, like it will add up and you will get fitter. And then doing something like more formal cardio might suck less because you're a lot more tolerant to it at that point.
Yeah. And then
So
you've
that's a
kind of built
trick.
up an identity around like, okay, I'm somebody who regularly does cardio and it just feels less of an affront to who you are. I think sometimes if you've only tried one method of doing something, you build up an identity against it. You're like, "Oh, I just don't like that thing." And I think you need to be able to try different ways of doing that because if you just create an identity or a rationale for why you don't need to do that thing, it can
Mhm.
really you can kind of shoot yourself in the foot in the long run, I think.
Yeah. And for me, like cardio is a lot like eating your vegetables. Like I get it. People don't love doing it, but you should. Like definitely if you asked me this 10 years ago, I'd say people are doing too much cardio, they need to do less cardio. And I think that was true at the time. But I think we've also taken that way too far and now
Mhm.
people like wear a big badge of honor that they do no cardio at all and I'm like that will bite you in the ass eventually. So I think people should be making an effort, even if they're not in a fat loss phase, to do like a minimal amount, like the amount of cardio you need to do to keep your heart healthy. Finding something that you
Yeah.
enjoy is really, really, really freaking important. And like we've mostly talked about like just gym type stuff, like very bro-y types of cardio, but there's so many different ways
Mhm.
to move. And I think that's what it all comes down to.
Mhm.
There's dance classes, there's step classes, there's just dancing in your living room, there's mowing your lawn, there's vacuuming your house, there's
Mhm.
like you mentioned circus arts, like that's cardio. The next idea was finding activities that are like skill based because
Uh,
for some
mm.
people it's not going to feel like exercise if there's something that they're learning. So an
Yeah.
example would be like indoor rock climbing
Mhm.
or martial arts or,
Mhm.
learning a particular kind of dance. Or I know you used to do archery. I don't know how much that felt
Mhm.
like exercise because I've never done it. You'd have to tell me.
Depends on the draw weight you're using. Like,
See, that
I have
means
a
nothing to me.
55-pound I have a 55-pound bow, and when I take that thing out and repeat like, I can only do it for a while. It's like how I was saying when I play guitar, like, on a acoustic that's
Mhm,
steel string, like, after a while, you're just, like, cramping in those muscles that you're using.
mhm,
So, there's definitely, levels of difficulty to it, but you're gonna get, yeah, specific adaptations to that thing. Like you're gonna get calluses and stronger hands with guitar, and you're gonna get
mhm,
stronger rear delts and to some degree traps with archery. But
mhm.
yeah. I don't
Just
know.
like
It's kind of fun.
examples of like you don't even think about the fact that you're exercising because you're so
Mhm.
busy trying to learn whatever thing it is you're trying to learn. So like I used to
Mhm.
do hula hooping professionally, and when I look back, it was definitely exercise, like 100% exercise, because it would be like a trick or something I would want to learn, and I'd have to drill it
Mhm.
like 500 times sometimes before I actually got it. But I was
Mhm.
so focused on, like, nailing it that I didn't even notice that, like, yeah, I was my heart rate was elevated. If I lost the hoop, I'd have to chase it across the yard and go bring it back or whatever. So it was definitely exercise, and it was, like,
Yeah.
a good way to just trick yourself into moving. But you have to be, like, excited by the goal.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's so funny because, like, as you get into the adult, like, working world, like, exercise becomes more, like, sterile and, like, portioned out and whatever. It's like meal prepping, but for fitness. Whereas when you're a kid, it's like play is just everywhere. Like, you're just
Yep.
playing all the time. And so if recapturing some of that and turning that into, I mean, granted, it's hard to find adult people who want to run around and play with you, but you can still find people who are more free spirited and want to do that kind of stuff. But you just have to be willing to think outside the box a little bit, especially if you have like a normal day job
Yeah.
and want to get activity in different ways than people just going to the gym would.
And that's part of the reason that I ended up doing CrossFit was
Hmm.
because it's not like I dislike bodybuilding or anything. I don't have anything against it at all. It just was not exciting to me at that point because I don't have any aspirations to compete at the moment.
Hmm.
So I am like, what am I going to do? Try to get my delts like a centimeter bigger. I also don't have any aspirations to like diet or get super lean, which is the only way you
Yeah.
can really see the results you're getting when you're doing
Yeah.
bodybuilding style training. So
Hmm.
I was still doing it, but it was like very going through the motions and I just wasn't
Yeah.
loving it. I wasn't looking forward to it so much. But CrossFit, when I watched it, I was like, that looks awful. But
Yeah, it
also,
does.
like, it is kind of like playing in a lot of ways because you don't really
Hmm.
know what you're walking into until you're like in it. And then
Hmm.
you're like, oh shit, this is what we're doing today. And for me, anyway, a lot of it is skill based. I don't know how to do a lot of the things that they have
Hmm.
on the docket. So I'm spending a lot of energy learning and
Hmm.
trying and scaling how to do those things. And that is
Yeah.
like very engaging to my brain. And
Yeah.
also, other people are doing the same thing at the same time. Like bodybuilding, for all of its benefits, it's kind of a lonely sport. Like you're very alone in doing
Mhm.
it. Like everybody's at the gym, but everybody's doing their own thing, very focused on what they are doing. And with the
Mhm.
CrossFit thing, everybody's doing the same thing, which you could absolutely make arguments for why that's not good. But I think as long as the people, one, teaching it, but also doing it, kind of know what they're doing and are able to listen to their body and scale appropriately, and
Mhm.
they're just trying to get fitter, then
Mhm.
the goal will be achieved, right? And it's
Yeah.
exciting to have other people along the same path, going through the same amount of suck that you can all bitch about at the end is like pretty cool.
Yeah, misery loves company, right? Yeah, and
Mhm.
what's interesting is when we were both, I mean, I was kind of falling out of love, I thought, with bodybuilding a while back too, and we were kind of going through that at the same time. And it's funny
Mhm.
how we both solved that problem, but in different ways. Like, I never wanted to compete, so that was never really a concern for me. And then
Mhm.
the idea of gaining a centimeter on my delts and getting a little bit leaner sounds awesome, actually. Even being as granular as that, it sounds like getting to the next level of like detail orientation, which is very tedious,
Mhm.
but for somebody with my type of brain is exciting because it is marginal benefit and more learning. And
Mhm.
so even though it does like get really tedious and annoying and hard to suss out if you're making progress at this point, I'm still willing to do it. I think what the issue was for me was that it was post election and I was going through all my feelings. And so
Yeah.
those were kind of clouding what I really cared about, type of
Mhm.
thing, in my personal life.
Yeah.
And to some degree, they still are. But at any rate, it's interesting to me how you were like, oh no, I'm just not as, like, there's not enough novelty here. There's not enough, like, I've been doing this training for so long that it's not exciting
Yeah.
to me anymore. And more I learn about you, the more I'm like, oh, she really does enjoy like learning, like unlocking new skills
Mm.
is like a big part of what makes you tick, which
It's
is
like
interesting.
crack to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
I
the
mean, I
Rubik's
assume. I
Cube.
haven't tried crack, but I assume.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason people can't seem to stop. But at any rate, like, I think it's really cool that you know that about yourself, and so you lean into, like, the novelty aspect of, like, okay, there's just gonna be there's an indefinite amount of, like, unlimited amount of things that you could learn in this life, and
Yeah.
using that to catapult you into new, challenges and new levels of fitness is a really smart thing to do.
I also think that for me, it's like, I'm very against program hopping, which is ironic because that's literally all CrossFit actually is. But I mean, I didn't do that for, I don't know, 15 years or something. I was very
Mhm,
bodybuilder. This is what we're doing. It's the same thing over and over. And that was
mhm,
fine and exciting for a long time. But also, like, I've kind of, like, I just personally, and obviously I was not like this for a long time personally, like, I feel like I'm done putting so much weight in what my body looks like and picking
mm,
that apart so much, which is part of the sport.
mhm,
But also, like, as a business owner in the fitness sphere, like, your body is also kind of your calling card. And I don't like that about the industry. Like, I think it's a pretty screwed up thing about the industry.
mhm,
And I don't want to feed into it anymore. Like, if I don't
mhm,
want the industry to be like that, then I have to, like, actually do that thing. And I personally,
yeah,
like I said about this cut coming up for the cruise, like, I don't actually care because I've gotten to a place where I'm just, like, happy with the way my body looks, the things it can
mhm,
do. And I'm sure there's a line where that could be crossed and that would change and I could be like, I don't love this right now. But that was the other reason, was like the bodybuilding hypertrophy focused stuff is very cool looking, but it is very
mhm,
aesthetics based, especially
yeah,
after a certain point, and I'm just like, I'm not there anymore,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
feels kind of awesome to not be there,
That's
honestly.
cool. Yeah, I'm super proud of you. I'm really excited because I think we do need more voices like that in the fitness industry, and I think it's really refreshing to see people living that out instead of just saying like, "Oh, it doesn't matter what you look like or whatever." Being
Yeah,
more comfortable with, maybe some areas of your body will atrophy right now because it's like,
yeah,
okay, I'm not training these specific areas as hard,
mhm,
but at the end of the day, being excited about what your body can do now that it couldn't before, that's pretty
mhm,
cool. And that is, a really big aspect of fitness that gets overlooked a lot of times. So I think it's cool that you're living those values. And I
yeah.
think that it's going to inspire more people to do that too.
Well, trying to. Like, it's not like I've transcended not caring about what I look like at all, but, like, in
Yeah.
bodybuilding, it is the focus. Like, you can show up on show day the unhealthiest you have ever been in your entire life. You could be super lean because you got cancer. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
If you look a certain way,
Yeah.
you win. And, like, I
Hmm.
don't I don't know. I don't know. It's something I've sort of
It's so
gone back
right.
and forth with for years,
Uh-huh.
but I also love the idea of, like, if someone wants to change their body, like,
Hmm.
bodybuilding is body modification, just like tattoos and piercings and any coloring your hair,
Hmm.
whatever. It's and I
Hmm.
I like that about it, but it also, like, I don't wanna just be that, I guess.
Yeah, well, I think it's what you're saying is like your fitness, you want to be an extension of your self-expression, not like a I'm trying to fit into a box for other
Mhm.
people type of thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I think that requires a constant like inventory or like assessment of like what do I really care about right now? Because if you're not careful, you might just end up chasing things because you think, "Oh, it'll be better for the business," or "Oh, it'll
Mhm.
get, more attention on social media or whatever."
Yeah. And it's true too. I know for
Yeah.
a fact, and I know Alice has experienced this, and I don't. Maybe Ben has experienced it. I don't know. Maybe you have experienced
Mm.
it, but the lean. I know Giacomo has. When you're
Yeah.
really lean, eyeballs suddenly care what you have to say. Like, all of a
Mhm.
sudden,
Yeah.
your opinion matters, whether or not
Yeah.
you know what the hell you're talking about. And the second
Yeah.
you're not super lean, your opinion matters a lot less. And, like, that's pretty fucked up, honestly. Yeah.
It's true. Well, it's the same with being attractive versus unattractive. Like if people are more attracted to you, you get more attention and like that's, it's not necessarily fair. It's not necessarily based on
Right.
merit, but it is
Mhm.
it is human nature.
Yeah.
And I think to some degree, it's you got to play the game a little bit, like kind of like
Mhm.
how okay, we'll do like the thumbnails with
Yeah.
the excited faces or whatever, but at the end of the day, if you're
Mhm.
still bringing the kind of content and the kind of substance to things that really matters to you, then
Mhm.
I don't think you're betraying yourself at all. I think you're just trying to play to your strengths and get people's attention, but then really bring the good message home. And I think that
Mhm.
that's kind of what you're doing now with what, cutting and knowing like, okay, that's going to be helpful
Yeah.
overall, but I'm not going to go crazy with it. And I'm not going to take it to a level where I don't feel healthy anymore and
Mhm.
I can't do the things that I want to do anymore because ultimately that's what's driving you right now. It's what's exciting to you right now. And so I think it's really cool that you went in with that kind of mindset of like, yeah, I'll do it, but I'm not going to like pick myself apart anymore. And I'm not going to feed into this kind of like, lean is law. I don't know if you've seen that like online. It's like
No.
lean is law is like the saying.
No, but
So
it
yeah,
sounds accurate.
yeah. So, but yeah, but some people will just like take what is more aesthetic and turn it into like a pathology and, build their whole identity around it. And it's dangerous. But I
Mhm.
think at the end of the day, if what you're doing feels true to what you want and it's not based on your desire for validation or, attention or business or whatever, like purely, granted, those might factor in a little bit.
Yeah,
We all do have
they
to make a
have
living.
to when you gotta keep the
Yeah.
lights on, so yeah.
Right. We have to all make a living and we also want to be listened to and yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, if you're doing what lights you on fire, I think that you're gonna have much more longevity. You're gonna have much easier time keeping yourself adherent to what you're trying to do. And you're gonna feel much more proud of yourself at the end of it
Mhm.
because you'll have accomplished something that really matters to you instead of chasing what other people care about.
Yeah, I agree, and I think bringing it back to, like, not necessarily bodybuilders, but just people who are like, "I should exercise, but I don't
Hmm.
wanna exercise." Like, if it's an exercise that you hate or, like, a style of exercise you hate some people hate strength training, period, full stop,
Hmm.
like, they do not
Hmm.
enjoy it,
Hmm.
but you know you need to do it because 'cause you're an adult, like, minimum effective
Hmm.
dose, find out what that
Yeah.
is, do as little of it as you need to do to get the results that you need to get, and then fill in the gaps with stuff that excites you.
Yeah.
And if you don't know
I
what
like
that
that.
is yet, try something else. Like, just keep
Hmm.
trying other things. Because just because you don't like one thing, I guarantee there's something out there that everybody likes.
Right. I think for resistance training, like what I would give people to start with, if especially if they're in that camp of like, I hate this, I would say 2 days a week of strength training
Mhm,
with like 3 or 4 sets of like compound lifts that are going to
mhm,
hit a couple different areas. Like
mhm.
usually like a bigger muscle group and a smaller muscle group, like doing a squat pattern, doing a pressing pattern, doing a pulling motion. If you do a handful of those things and you're doing like at least 3 sets or so, I
Yeah.
think you'll probably be able to achieve, at least if you're able to do it consistently, you'll be able to achieve a certain level of strength and like maintenance of muscle tissue to a certain degree that's going to be healthy overall.
Yeah. I
Um,
would agree completely. And some
yeah.
people, in the world of strength training, I've met a lot of people who just think it's really boring, like
Mm,
they don't like the rest in between. They leave the gym feeling like they haven't done anything.
hmm.
Obviously, at that point, we need to learn how to bring some intensity to these lifts, but that takes time
Yes.
when you're new, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes if someone is like, "I hate this, I will not do it," but
Hmm.
they like crazy intense stuff, yeah, I'll throw some burpees in there or something if that's what's gonna
Hmm.
make them keep if that's what they like and they need to feel like that they did that or they didn't train, and that's
Yeah.
what's gonna keep them showing up to do the strength training that I really want them to be doing,
Hmm.
sure, that's a concession I'm willing to make to get them there.
Totally. I'll do like circuit training for those kind of people. I'll
Mhm.
do, I mean, even experiment with different stuff, CrossFit, strongman, powerlifting. I mean, whatever, until you find something that feels like it lights your brain up. There's a little bit of a dopamine, like, flare up there. Cause I think that people think that we in the fitness industry or people who are just like constantly doing fitness stuff are just doing it for the long term benefits and that we just have
Mhm.
our eyes on the horizon at all times. And that's why we do it. But if we're being honest with ourselves, like we have found a way to do fitness that feels good in the moment too,
Mhm.
and also gets us towards the long term goal. And that's the tricky needle to thread. But once you figure that out, well, man, you're going to make some serious progress.
When you're training, you got decreased your training a little bit. I don't mean in
Hmm.
performance. I mean, you like decrease the amount of lifting you were doing. Like you were like, oh, that
Hmm.
gives me some anxiety. Like
Hmm.
that sucks, but also it's a really good sign that you really enjoy the type of training that you're doing. And
Hmm.
that's when I started to realize, like, oh shit, I really do like this CrossFit thing because some nights I'm just like, I have too much work. I can't go. And I'm like bummed about it. And
Oh,
I was like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, I'm where I'm supposed to be right
That's
now. And it
good.
has nothing to do with a long-term benefit. What is the
Mhm.
long-term benefit of me learning how to do a muscle up? Like zero. There's none of that. But being overall fitter, that's a long-term benefit. But it's
Mhm.
also like I found something that I enjoy so much right now that I
Mhm.
want to be there doing it. And I think that's the feeling people should be shooting for.
Yeah,
And
totally.
as much as I've, like, kind of shit on group classes for a long time, just as, like, a modality, I think they obviously have
There are their
large
limitations.
drawbacks, right? But for a lot of people, that community is the difference between them showing up or not showing up. So
Totally.
I think they're actually like a huge win. If you hate fitness and you hate training, go get a class pass or something and go try out different classes until you find like a teacher that you like and a
Mhm.
group of people that you like. And even if that's not what you end up doing long term, it can be a really good jumping off point to get
Mhm.
you into something else that maybe
Yeah.
you like even more. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Well
if you're out
said.
there listening to all the bros on YouTube and even this podcast, and you're like, well, they said that group training is not the best. It's not the best, but it's a billion times better than not training. So
Mhm.
just try it.
100%. 100%. Yeah, and I think yeah, you're right. I think a lot of times people do start there and then they find out, "Oh, I do like doing something like this," and then they use that to infer different programming for themselves in the future, even if that class kind of goes away or, the trainer leaves or whatever, they have
Mhm.
some experience that really helped them get to the next point of like, I actually enjoy some exercise. You learn more about yourself. Oh, if you really do experiment, then you'll probably find something that clicks with you. Sometimes, like when I was going through that like whole post-election like cloud, sometimes that's people's like norm. Like some people
Mhm.
work so freaking hard or they have such like such stress in their lives
Mhm.
that they just think that they don't like exercise categorically because it just takes too much energy and they just have very precious little of it and
Mhm.
time. To those people, as much as you can control, I think you need to get out of that cycle because there's just never going to be a situation in which exercise is not somewhat of a chore. It's not somewhat taxing.
Mhm.
Granted, there are some ways that are harder than others, but it's going to be a harder thing. It's going to be like something that is not uh like completely enjoyable and you can do completely without focusing, right?
Mhm.
It's not like a passive activity like watching TV or something like that. And so if your 99% of your energy is taken up by work and you expect to use that 1% you have left to to exercise, even if you do manage to get yourself to exercise, you're just not going to have much left in the tank
Mhm.
to do anything productive. So to those people, I say you have to simplify your life as much as humanly possible. And if that means that you don't get in the gym as often, but you have a couple of days, like down days or something like that, where you finally can start to reclaim your health and fitness, then that is still worthwhile. But yeah, I think a lot of people just treat the weeks like hustle, hustle, hustle. And then on the weekend, they just can't do anything but veg out. And
Yeah.
that's really
I
hard
mean,
to get
I've
out of.
done that. I've totally done that.
Yeah.
Sometimes for years on and off, I literally have to put or did have to put before when I was struggling with, like, caring about going to the gym, I would have to put it in the calendar like it was a
Yeah.
regular appointment,
Yeah.
drag my ass there, and the whole time I was there, I was like, "I should be at home doing this work,"
Yeah.
which blows. But the other thing is, like, for those people who, like, feel like they have no energy, this is super hard in the beginning, like, really, really hard because you have no energy, but,
Hmm.
like, exercise gives you energy. Not always
Hmm.
right away. It's not always like, "Oh, I did a workout and now I feel awesome," but, like, that's literally
Hmm.
how we build mitochondria, which we can still
Hmm.
build through intense exercise of some kind over time, and the more mitochondria you have, the more energy you have,
Powerhouse
but
of the cell.
it
Yeah.
is the powerhouse of the cell. Um, and, it's we can build new ones. That's, something that I've learned over the last couple years. It's hard. It's not easy to
Mhm.
do, so you have to show up and you have to occasionally bust your ass a bit, but it
Mhm.
will pay off in the long term. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
hard buy-in at the beginning, but worth it.
Yeah, and one tip for people who just have really busy, hard, work life balance, that kind of thing, is try to get your training in earlier in the day
Mm.
if possible. I know some for some people that means waking up super early when and this time of year it's really cold and that sucks. But if you can get yourself to the gym or get into your home gym, which would be ideal in some situations, early enough, it won't hit you yet that you are more tired. Or if you try to work out after work, a lot of times it just doesn't happen. And so even as I've gotten older, I've just gravitated towards doing it
Yeah.
earlier. I don't know if it's because I'm older or because I just do more work now or whatever, but at any rate, it's gotten easier to do workouts in the morning as
Mhm.
opposed to later in the day.
So I know
Yeah.
that what you just said is true because so many people I've heard so many people that I respect saying it.
Mhm.
So I know that it's true, but I'll give you the flip side of that because I can't do it. Like I've never been
Really?
able to do it. Yeah. Um, but doing it immediately after work as somebody who kind of just like rolls out of bed and starts working
Mhm.
pretty much every day, being like, it's this o'clock, I'm going to the gym. It
Mhm.
it makes me stop working. Like it forces me
Mm.
to stop working, and it's this, like, kind of barrier event between my workday and
Work and
my me
life.
time. So it
Yeah.
helps me as somebody who, like, tends to I mean, I can very easily sit in front of this computer all day, and I will never run out of work to do, it's not possible. So that's if somebody else is like that where they could just work, work, work forever, like there is no end. There's no end. You're never going to check everything off the list. So stop trying
Mhm.
to, and you're going to have to just like set a boundary. And for
Mhm.
me, during COVID, when nobody could go anywhere, I would go for a walk and I would call my mom like every day. And that was like,
Mhm.
that's when I realized, like, oh, if I have an event after work
Mhm.
that tells my brain we're done for the day, like everything
Mhm.
is better. So for me, going to the gym right after work helps with that. But you have to know
That's
that you're
very
actually going to
insightful.
do it.
Yeah, that's very insightful. I think that's good because people need variety when it comes to ways to do things. But I think at the end of the day, it's like you figure that out because you put consistent effort towards it and you realize, okay, this is something that works for me. Even if everybody else I talk to, or mostly everybody else that I talk to, is doing it
Mhm.
in the morning,
Yes.
just, yeah, for some people, that's just not feasible. And you have to work within the bounds that your body and your mind give you to some degree. And yeah, I think experimentation is a good way to figure that out. Yeah.
All right. I think we kind of covered
Cool.
it. Do you have anything else that you wanted to cover on this topic?
I don't think so. I think those are all like the major points that I would tell somebody that, if I had all the time in the world to explain to
Yeah.
clients too. So I'll probably send this to some of them.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. No, that was pretty
Uh,
good.
All right, good. I feel good about that. I feel like if I was with somebody in person, I would just start rattling off 100 different kinds of exercise and see if they've tried it and if they hate it. I would be so annoying. So this is much better than that.
No,
All
it's
right.
good. It's good when you're with somebody because you get to zero in on what they like and then build off of that. So,
Mhm,
we'd have a more specific conversation for them. But hopefully, this gets people's wheels turning of like, oh, I haven't tried that, or I did like that thing one time, and then they can
mhm.
go from there. But yeah, it's always hard to give exact advice on these kinds of platforms,
Mm. All right, well,
you
I'll
know?
do the wrap up. I haven't done it in forever. Let's see if I can still remember
Okay.
all of it. I like how Ben just rattles off everybody's social media account. I will never remember
He's
everybody's
so
social
good at
media
that.
account. My God. Okay. All right. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Vegan Proteins Muscles by Brussels Radio. If you are looking for any kind of one on one coaching, we do have openings and we will leave the link for the assessment in the show notes or in the YouTube description down below. Go ahead and fill that out, and you'll hear back from probably Giacomo within a business day. We'd love to help you reach whatever your goals are, even if you hate exercise. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, you can find us on Instagram. Sawyer is at Soyboy Fitness Coaching.
Nice.
Ah,
Nailed it.
yes. All right. Mine is Vegan Proteins. Giacomo's Muscles by Brussels. Ben is Ben A. Mitchell. I think he changed it back.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay.
changed it back.
And Alice is Alice Vegan Proteins or Vegan
Hmm.
Proteins Alice.
I think it's
One
vegan
of those.
proteins, Alice.
Okay. All right. And you can always email us anything about the podcast or if you have suggestions, coach at veganproteins.com, and we will hit you back. So my name is Danny,
And I'm Sawyer.
and we'll talk to you later.
Peace.